Malupana Yesu Onorayo, Viva Imitandazo, Yetu, Osi, Sigelela, Tina, Yusaporayo, Osi, Sigeneli, Africa, Malupana Yesu Onorayo, Viva Imitandazo, Yetu, Osi, Sigelela, Tina, Lusaporayo, Yetamoya,
Welcome to the greatest show on earth, talking about the greatest political, economic, and current affairs analysis with a difference. Coming from the Voice of London, TV, voltv.co.uk. This segment of the show, we're going to be looking at the international news, and of course, a lot of things have been happening. There's been a major election in Germany and also issues pertaining the rest of the world. We'll then dribble our way through the Pan-African world where we'll be looking at the motherland. Before that, I would like to say don't forget to share, like, and subscribe so that our brothers and sisters will benefit and be part of this big Pan-African family and the diaspora linked together as usual. Let me go and welcome my learned colleagues. I'm so grateful to have them as usual. Selfless service and service to the motherland and service to multiculturalism and togetherness. Let me welcome my very good friend, Mr. Teddy Amofa. Teddy, how are you?
Fine, guys. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. And I see you looking very healthy and well.
Yeah, by God's grace.
Great. How was the weekend? Was it any outings, some parties or funerals as usual?
No, not this one. This one was cool.
All right, let me go all the way to Leicester. Yes, my brethren, my partner in progress, way back in time, Adams. Welcome to the show. Say Adams.
Thank you very much. How are you? And how are the listeners? Hope everybody is okay.
Yeah, great. Our audiences worldwide are very, very well. Okay, so we expect also to have Dr. Akwete joining us. We also have our lady Obapa Julie, who will be joining us later and bringing us some breakdown from what is happening back there in the motherland. But for now, let's look at some of the great headlines that is taking place right here in our own domain. Let me put it that way. Okay, so great news. Germany have actually had their elections as usual. That is a big one. And the Germany's conservative leaders celebrate as far right projected to take second place. So this is an interesting thing. The conservative CDU/CSU party is said to be the largest party in the next German parliament with 28.5% of the vote according to projections. And then we have Friedrich Merz, who is now in a pole position to become Germany's next chancellor, hailed a terrific election campaign and said there's no time to waste in forming a government. And so you could see that the socialists have been pushed aside a bit. That's an interesting take. It seems the conservatives are winning elections across the globe. America had this in November. And Donald Trump also won from the conservative angle. That is the Republican Party. All right, so we'll be looking at the, we just want to be conversant with what is happening around us, those of us in the diaspora. It's very important. Let's look at the other headlines that are also making waves. Zelensky willing to give up presidency in exchange for NATO membership. And we also know that Zelensky and US President Donald Trump have, should we say their relationship is a bit edgy, but never mind. So that is the news from the Ukraine angle. The Pope Francis remains critical and has kidney problems, the Vatican has said. So we need to actually remind him in our prayers as usual. Pope Francis not feeling too well, hospitalized, coming from the Vatican City. And once again, Gaza ceasefire once again in doubt as first phase nears end. That's the exchange of prisoners. Almost comes to an end. I was looking at that particular issue earlier, and the exchange of the prisoners had a bit of a problem because Israel said the Palestinians, that is Hamas, was being not being very fair in terms of the exchanges. All right, let's go straight and look at another interesting story. I'd like to look at this one from the French prisoner, the Fly, arrested 9 months after deadly van ambush. And then we have 2025. This is an opinion from John Simpson, and he's saying that 2025 could be a year for the history books as Trump shreds global norms. That's an interesting one. We all know Trump's tariff against Canada, against Mexico, migration issues, so many things going on, and it's quite interesting. All right, so we wait for the beautiful lady Obapanjuli to bring us that stories and headlines from the motherland. But before she does that, let myself and my learned colleagues interject and look at issues from the international world a bit. Yes, so let me go straight with my with Teddy. Teddy, German election, and now the Conservatives seems to be in pole position to form a coalition. Does it surprise you?
Well, I think the Western world now, I think they are shifting to conservatism, and I think one thing that's playing a huge part is nationalism. I think when the economy is weak, you have the conservatives trying to use probably, they'll whip the masses, they'll whip the electorate with immigration issues and stir up moral issues. And I think it's once they stir such issues up, I think especially if the economy is dicey and they use immigration, you realize that people tend to fall for it. And also if the economy is weak, I think it comes into place. But I think on the issue of Trump, I think what Trump is doing in regard to tariffs is going to be is going to be a lose-lose for everybody, because now if you look at Europe, China, and they're the three biggest markets, and you can't bully or bamboozle your way around. And I think once they retaliate or reciprocate in kind, I think prices of goods and services will appreciate, and unfortunately, the customers will suffer, consumers will suffer. So I don't. It's a lose-lose battle. Even though he's trying to apply the economic interests of America, I think he's going too far. Now I think he's being blindfolded by his dogmatism, in my opinion.
Well, the other side will also say probably Trump is trying to defend his country, and that it's about time they stop, giving handouts to many a country, and so other countries now needs to wake up and see what they can do and fend for themselves.
Well,
Adams, okay, go on, Teddy.
but that's also an interesting point, because truly the aid doesn't go to the people, the right people. If it's administered by the government, then I think one has to beg the question that I think the aid hasn't done the third world any good at all. Yeah, in my opinion, doesn't done any good at all to them. Because it's not, because the aid is not because the aid, is it accountable? Is somebody there to do any forensic auditing on how it's spent? The answer is no.
Okay, Mr. Adams. What do you make out of the German election, sir?
The German election, as Teddy said, because the world economy is turning to the different direction, and all what the politicians will do is they play on the intellect of the electorate to change the fortunes of their electoral processes. We look at what has gone around for the past 15 or so or more years. We've seen very insurrections and destabilization of countries that has had an adverse effect on the economic and also the movement of migration from one point to the other. And this has culminated in the pendulum of the political processes swinging to one way or the other. We saw what happened in England, and now what the supposedly Labour Party is doing. We saw the electoral results in the United States of America, whereby Donald Trump was elected into administration because of his mantra on the defend American first. And Germany, Angela Merkel, one of the best chancellor of that country, welcoming to the migrants into the Germany, and the effect she had on the European Union, her positive contribution to the EU, as well as the growth of the German economy, was a force that the Germans should have seen to maintain that form of liberal parties in office. However, because of the immigration and the scandals of migrants and certain aspects, it makes the right wing prevail. But fortunately, it wasn't all the right wings, or it wasn't all the bad. The conservative in Germany will take the majority of the share. But let's see what they can do. Talking about Donald Trump, one way I agree with him. Aid has never done good to any country, but it does good to the providers. Aid is bribery. Aid is scandalous, a scandal which we need to stop. It has made the African politics very, very poor and disgusting. Margaret Thatcher and Donald Reagan used aid to reintroduce slavery and colonization. Margaret Thatcher couldn't hide it and said we should use the carrot stick approach. What is the carrot stick approach? When they approach you with the aid and you defy them, you don't take them, they label you as the hard or the mad dog, and they set their guys on you and destroy you. Aid is a form of buying a country for free. For all these years, the African countries have been getting aid and cannot be accounted for. We don't see where the money is going. They send their agencies with that portfolio of printed cash to just open it to you and say, this is what you get if you give us the supply of your electricity to a company in the United States or a company in the Great Britain. We give you $1 million. And you see the uncle with a pot belly, bald-headed, empty-headed in Africa, in Ghana in particular, will say, oh, we are getting 1 million to cushion our budget, and he takes that money and gives the main source of electricity to a company in the United Kingdom. They are not coming to improve the
Adam, I'm
production
not
of.
cutting you. Adam, I'm not cutting you. I just want to check. I think Julie's trying to come on direct instead of joining. Okay, I think she's trying to come in direct. Julie, okay, Adams, continue. I lost her.
Instead of adding value production, they don't do any production at all. They do distribution. So the already dilapidated infrastructure in that country, they will come and milk it and slam high tariff on the people of the country, the citizenry. So you see, they've created a job for the jobless person on the streets of United Kingdom when they go to the benefit office to take the money from Africa. And they've deprived the Ghanaian person who is willing to work a job in Ghana. And they also take what he's got in his pocket and export it to United Kingdom. So the aid is one way or the other a very bad thing that we should now say no to aid in any African country. And also, Donald Trump trying to ask the European Union or members of the European states to contribute fairly to NATO is a very good call. Why should America foot the bills of NATO? And again, is NATO necessary at all? NATO has outwith or outgrown its boundaries. NATO should be disbanded now because NATO wasn't formed for these things that is happening now. Russia is not Russia is not advancing in any European nation. There is no more Cold War, so we don't have the relevance of NATO anymore.
So we've got the points you are making there. That's it. Teddy, you agree with Adams with regards to the NATO? He was mentioning because in this world everybody needs protection, and NATO could be a way of protecting Europeans, protecting themselves, the trans-American, cooperation in terms of defense. What's your view on?
Well, I think NATO should be retained because Europe has proven to be weak defending itself. Because if Europe was strong, I doubt, and if Europe was strong, they would have taken on Hitler. And there will be somebody works what Putin has done. Somebody can also come and do a copycat act and easily exploit. Because Europe are defensive. If you take, for instance, Britain and France, they are they are the military might in Europe, but they cannot sustain Europe. So I think NATO is there to be a defensive mechanism. And I think, yes, I agree with what Adams is saying, that Europe should contribute more. I think Obama was the one. What people need to realize one thing: it was Obama that set things in pace when he said America is no longer the world's policeman. So all that, how do you call it? Trump is doing.
Yeah.
All that Trump is doing, he's just following the footsteps of. He's gone a bit further, but he's following the footsteps of what how do you call it? Obama said, because America's economy is not as strong as it used to be. The days when America was the richest country to give martial aid to countries, those days are gone. So they also, because they have a high population increase and high inflation, how do you call it? High budget deficits, huge enough that I think if NATO goes up, I think Europe will be weak. Trust me, it will be very weak.
No, Europe doesn't need NATO. Europe doesn't need NATO because no country is an aggressor.
Let's leave that debate and then move on to the most the Pope of them all, Pope Francis, not feeling well and taken to hospital, kidney problems, and that's a big red flag. Any comment on that, Teddy?
Well, for the popes, if because they are all the if you look at the age in which they ascend to the position, you realize that they are all on borrowed time. Because a lot of them are in their late 70s, 80s, and until they, I don't know why they won't go for somebody in his 40s, but the same old generation. So I think things are
The,
about
the,
to happen.
it seems that the Pope position is always an elderly one, isn't it? Maybe the position is left for those with overwhelming experiences. Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm going to skip that away from Adams.
No, I'm very interested. I'm interested. Pope,
Go on
Pope is a
then.
human being. Pope is a
Yeah,
human being, and he's a leader of one of the most strongest religious organization in the world.
that's true.
And
That's true. Yeah.
I think the Pope having this issue, our well wishes to the Pope that may he have a speedy recovery. This brings to mind how many of humans like him are
Yeah.
suffering from kidney
The dog.
problems who are not privileged, who are
Yeah.
not privileged, who are
Oh,
not
that
privileged
man, since you
to have the best
Okay,
of medical facility.
Adamu, let me go straight to Julie and let's pick Julie up because we can come back to our diaspora first. Okay, Julie, welcome to the show. Can you hear me? Hello, Julie. Obapa Julie, calling us all the way from the motherland. Lady Julie, I can see you live. Let's see if the audio. Okay, you can pick me now, right? Okay, my audiences, bear with me. We've got Obapa Julie on the line. We're going to break the headlines to us all the way from the motherland. I can see the network turning around a bit, so that could be the issue. So, Adams, you continue. As soon as Julie gets a better network, then we can link her up. Yeah.
Yes, as I was saying, how many of humans like Pope are privileged to have the best medical facilities that he is enjoying now? These are some of the questions that we need to ask. The global human citizenship is in dire need of fair equity of the global capital. So we need to ensure that the least that everybody will have is a fairer medical facility, fairer medical treatment whenever they are sick. So this is a wake-up call, and it's a highlight. It's a way to highlight the aid, the medical aid that we should give to the less privileged humans in the world. So we think the Catholics have done a lot of good work in Africa, some part of Africa, by introducing medical facilities and schools in some part of Africa. And we know why they were doing that, just to propagate the Western hegemony. And they were able to do that fairly. So it's about time we take them baton out of them and also do things for ourselves, and later on we can also. And again, Pope John Paul wasn't that much old when they made him a pope. He was a bit young man, and he lived for a long time before he passed away. So Catholicism, they need to change some of their status quo to ensure that they improve upon certain things, especially the child molestation issues. They need to come out clear to clarify it, where the apologies are needed.
Let me try Julie again. Hi, Julie. It's good to see you.
Hello.
Hey, look how
Good
you
to
are.
see you.
As for this, your hairstyle, nigga, and just more.
Oh. Oh,
Okay, so
Lala. I'm learning
without,
from you.
I don't want you to get a bad network. So let's quickly go through. What have you got for us?
All right. So, welcome to Ghana. I welcome all of our listeners and then viewers across. And then to also apologize, okay, because I've been having bad network for the past few days, where I'm not able to join you guys to deliberate on what is going on in Ghana here as I speak to you. So
Okay,
a quick
apologies.
one.
this apology is accepted, and I'm sure our audience is forgiving you and you're not disappointed. You heard me? Can you hear me, Julie, once again? Oh, this network again. Anyway, Julie, can you hear me? Anyway, you can hear me now. Okay, we have a bad line with Julie, but once we get there, she can go straight to the.
Hello, Nana. Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you now. Okay, go ahead. Before the network.
Hello, Nana.
Yeah, I can hear you, so go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we can hear you, so go ahead.
Nana, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you, so go ahead. You can hear us, but we can hear you. Yes, okay. I think Julie cannot hear me and hear us, but we can hear her very clearly. Julie, go ahead. We can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello.
You can hear me now, yeah? I think it's the network because I could see the network always playing out. Okay, so let's move straight away and go to the other parts of the Pan-African world, which is the motherland Africa, and let's take some of the headlines. Now, we know the President of the United States, Donald Trump, is having a serious banter with South Africa. And this is quite interesting because South Africa has decided to really take the Trump administration on. It's of course, an interesting scenario. Let's quickly look at the other items. Bear with me. I'm trying to get it right. Yes. There is also anger as aid worker dies after DR Congo shooting. We all know what is happening in Congo with all the, mayhem that is happening there. Should I say mayhem? Two different factions. And so we'll have healthy gist from Teddy and say Adams. And then still on the DR Congo rebels seeking to exploit discrimination against minority Tutsis. And I'm praying that these same Tutsis, as we remember in history, the Rwanda genocide, okay, the Tutsis and all those other tribal things became a genocide, and it was a sad thing. And we can see that is being exploited over there at the DR Congo. May the good Lord help our fellow Africans over there. All right, so let me go straight and look at this, another headlines from Mali. Mali, one of the Sahel countries, Mali to investigate claims. Soldiers executed women and children. So this is coming from Mali, one of the Sahel. Yeah. Nigeria ex-military leader for first time admits regret over cancelled polls. That's an interesting one. And Rwanda angered by US sanctions over DR Congo violence. So this is an interesting one as well, because I would like us to look at those ones. So this coming from the motherland, and it's quite an interesting one. Okay, so we have a veteran Ugandan politician charged with treason, a very interesting one there. And A2, is it A2 or A2, the footballer, claims victory in ethics breach case. All right, so quite interesting. Let me look at the Rwanda one. The US put in a sanction on Rwanda. Kagame, as we all know, is a very popular figure in Africa. We know there is some insurgency in that part of the world, that DR Congo. The US bringing sanction against Kagame. Your take, Let me start with Teddy.
I think historically, I think the guy cannot be. I don't think, though he's done well for his country, but if you look at the war, he's also. I think he also played a part that I think he's got away with it to an extent, because when you're talking about genocide, I think it's from both sides, but I think he came out victorious. So I think he didn't get out as a clean slate. He's not. We cannot turn a blind eye to what he did. That's my opinion, because he also played a part in terms of the genocide, the killing, and all those things. But I think it's probably through, I don't know, through probably marketing himself and getting is now in the good books of the world. So the presumption is that he's the good guy. But I think it's high time he also has questions to answer. My opinion.
Okay, Adams, quickly.
He has no question to answer. The question that needed answers, or people that needed to be questioned, are France, the UN, and the United States of America, Belgium. They need to answer most of the questions of the Rwanda genocide. But I'm so disappointed with the.
But I'm not talking about the Rwandan genocide. I'm talking about
Now I'm so disappointed.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
The bloodshed in Congo, the M23 wasn't formed by Paul Kagame. I'm so disappointed in the African Union when UN comes out with this nonsense, and they're talking about some of the African unions being sanctioned and African leaders being sanctioned. You see, UN has been a problem for that region ever since Patrice Lumumba was the prime minister or the president of Republic of Congo. If you remember, Dr. Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah made a statement in the press out in the United States of America when he told Hazanov that, look, UN should get out of Congo, or else I'm going to command the African forces to go and fight them in the UN. And Jamal, the president of Egypt, before Nkrumah touched down to Ghana, Jamal has marshaled forces to go to Congo. You see, they killed Patrice Lumumba. It's UN that killed Patrice Lumumba. They created all the problem in the Republic of Congo. And now it is the multinational corporations who are milking the Congo resources. They are creating all these problems in Congo. So if we want peace, not the African rebel who has no shoes, who walk barefooted by holding AK-47 that can buy him food for the whole year. Buy him food for the whole year, who is creating the problem. It's not them. It's the UN and the business organization, the multinational corporations that are doing it. We need to look into it. The African Union is one of the most useless organizations in the world. They killed Gaddafi.
Yeah, we'll come back to our diaspora topics. I think I have Julie on the line. Let me see if I can this time pick her well. Julie, welcome to the show once again. I can understand. Yeah, we can hear you clearly. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you very clearly.
Okay, so just give us the report from the motherland, and then we see if we can titrate, analyze, and then rewrite it.
All right, so a quick one. Let's take the issue of Akwetia MP. In the ticket of MPP, that is Honorable Evans Kumi,
yes,
who has been arrested by COP Natal Kofi Boachi Rita, okay? All because, they have legal issues concerning their elections results.
The elections,
Yes, declared last year, which is 2024. The incumbent MP who was Honorable Boachi Yadom in the ticket of MPP first won, or he was first declared the winner of the elections at the constituency. And then later on, the results were collected at the EC office, whereby the MPP man, that is Evans Kumi, was declared the winner for Akwetia constituency. So the incumbent MP there, that is Honorable Boachi Adam, took the case to court. Okay, so the case was in court whilst the MPP MP, who also believed he won the elections, went to Parliament to be sworn in by the Speaker of Parliament so that he becomes a full member of Parliament for the good people of Akutia. But unfortunately, just this week, there was a bench warrant against him by the court for the police to arrest him anywhere they find him, whether in Parliament.
I was actually I was following the news about the Akwetia issue. So once Julie has brought that in, guys, let's look at the motherland stories. This Akwetia MP that the Kufuria High Court.
He was a chamber of Parliament. Okay. Yeah, so he quickly walked out per the videos we are seeing going viral. He walked out from the chamber and then we don't know where he went, whether to his office or he went outside Parliament. We were trying to engage him so that we can talk to him for him to tell us the way forward. But then unfortunately, he couldn't speak to the media. So the next day, which was on Friday, he came back to Parliament trying to make a statement. We didn't know the statement because the majority leader then stopped him from making any statements on the floor of Parliament because he had been convicted by the court, and that he has to do the right thing before he can come back to Parliament as the member of Parliament or whatever it is. So he was prevented from making a statement on the floor of Parliament on Friday, as I speak to you. Yeah. So when this misunderstanding happened between the minority and then the majority leader, Honorable Osahini Alexander Afenyo-Mikens, held a press conference.
Wait a minute, Obapa Julie, Obapa Day. When did Afenyo-Mikens became Osahini?
He was installed at his constituency. So they've given that title to him here.
Oh, so he's now a chief.
Yes, he's now a chief and a parliament and a politician as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so now he preferred we call him Osahini instead of the honorable itself. So he held a press conference debunking the behavior or the way the majority held the matter on the floor of Parliament. But unfortunately, immediately we got home around 9 p.m., we got to realize that the MP for Akwetia, Honorable Evans Kumi, has been arrested for interrogations. So as I speak to you now, he's at the police custody, spending his weekends over there instead of being with the family and the rest. So we are waiting to see if from Monday, which is the beginning of the week, there might be some changes from if the minority will go to the police to seek justice for Evans Kumi, or if anything will come out from them, we will just let our listeners know. But I can say to you categorically that Honorable Evans Kumi, who Jubes as the member for Akutia, has been arrested by COP Retail Kofi Boachi.
Okay, great. I was actually watching.
Nana,
Yes.
what is the status of COP retired Kofi Boachi? Can he effect arrest? Or Ghana Police Force have arrested the member of the parliament?
I think we have a problem with Julie's line once again. She'll come in, but let's interject. That is a very interesting question because
COP Boache cannot effect arrest. That would be a citizen's arrest. It's no more an active police officer.
Well, when it comes to arrest, even a citizen can do arrest. So
yeah, citizens arrest. But citizens cannot put somebody in custody.
We have Julie coming in. So yeah, Julie, continue.
Yeah, so COP Boache is now part of the security at the presidency, okay? He is now part of the national security in charge of operations at the presidency.
Okay.
So yeah, so he can arrest him to interrogate him and then hand him over to whoever to take place from, or whoever to take charge from where he ended.
Right. Okay. So I was following the MP Evans Kumi's situation in Parliament earlier on, and there were interjections between Afenomakin and then the Femacom. Is that the name?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, from Macron. And apparently, the High Courts had actually, there was an injunction against Evans, yeah? But then Evans then broke the injunction. And so the High Court decided to do Evans for contempt. And when they did him for contempt, and he wasn't in court, so then they served a bench warrant for his arrest.
Yes.
And that brought the Vermont court to use the word fugitive in Parliament against him, whilst Afenyo too was trying to defend him. So we saw that bit, and that's quite interesting. Okay, what other interesting news headlines are there?
Nana, as I speak to you, we all know that we now have a new government. That is the NDC government headed by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I can attest that he is really certain, because there has been new development in terms of his appointment. That is the ministers, the other stakeholders, CEOs, and then the rest. Nana, if you can recall, he promised us that he's going to give us 60 ministers. As I speak to you now, he last held his cabinet meeting with only 19 ministers. That is the regional ministers and then the other ministers, all which is up to 19. So we are looking up to Islam with him to appoint 4 additional ministers, so that in all we can get, if the ministers will be 30, and then with their deputies 30, which is equivalent to 60. So we are looking up to the President John Dramani Mahama to do the rest appointments. And then a quick one to this coming Thursday, which is on the 27th of February, you will come to the Parliament House to give the State of the Nation address. So Ghanaians are expecting him to scrap the e-levy. The Ghanaians are expecting him to talk about the bed tax as he promised earlier on. Ghanaians are expecting him to reintroduce the road toll, as it was said by the road minister that they are going to do it in a different manner, in which people will not be able to steal money or take away what belongs to the government. So these are the new updates in the system that we are all waiting for the president to deliver his first State of the Nation address to us on the 27th of this month.
Wow. So, as a reporter and a reporter at the Parliamentary House, how are Ghanaians or the electorates feeling the new President John Mahama and the few steps he has just taken? How are they feeling? Is it from a positive angle or a negative angle?
Yeah. So now it seems that the system is cool for everybody. You hardly hear people complaining about the system being hard as they used to say in the previous government, even though there hasn't been any changes in terms of buying of foodstuffs and the rest. But then the way of complaints which we used to hear has reduced dramatically now. Like how you, even if you sit in a commercial bus from wherever you are going to where you land, you hear people complaining of my doing and I entire there and the rest. Hardly for you to hear it after we elected John Dramani Mahama. So there is hope in the system, even though he has not exceeded more months or days in the seat. Ghanaians are enjoying his presidency. Ghanaians are already enjoying his governance.
So it means that barely 2 months, people are
Yes,
optimistic that the reset and the 24-hour economy can be achieved.
exactly, exactly. So we are now waiting patiently for Thursday coming, which is on the 27th, to hear new things from His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And another one funny thing is you will see some videos going viral. The a ball of cake which used to be 5 CDs is now 3 CDs a ball and other things. People are making fun of how Mahama has come and then everything has changed. Even with the issue of free SHS, you will see a video of the some of the students sharing sardine, enjoying their meals, not calling their parents for food and stuff. So the system is cool. We are all hoping that things will work out as we expect, so that Ghanaians will bounce back in their business and then everything.
I see. Um, that's quite interesting, you know. I'm just kind of like, so basically, am I right in saying that the system was so hot prior to the elections, and then right after the elections, the Mahama factor or magic has come things? Is that the case?
Nana, that would be 50-50. Okay.
Okay,
Because
okay.
during the elections, if we could recall, during the elections in my report,
Yeah.
I always said that this year, last year elections was something none of us expected of, in terms of how our business were going, how the system was, because whenever it's elections year, the way of purchasing or
Yeah.
buying and selling goes high. But last year elections was I don't know the word to use. I don't know the best word to use, but it was worse in terms of business. Okay,
Yeah.
because many people were angry to the sense of not even feeling like going out to buy anything new. They think what they have was okay for them, was enough, and I don't need to go out to purchase anything till the elections are over for us to know who is going to win. The NPP campaign massively, having the belief and the hope that they've done enough for Ghanaians to vote for them. And NDC also had the same fame or the same courage that Ghanaians are fed up with NPP government and that they need change. So everybody was reluctant, waiting for the elections to be over, then they can start anything new that they wish or they hope to start with.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, Julie, you are very privy to Parliament and most of these top stories. Cast your mind back just a couple of days or weeks ago with the Kenofori Atta issue. How how is it faring so far?
Okay, so now that Kenoforiaka has written to the special prosecutor that he'll be returning back He will be returning in the month of May so that they can investigate or interrogate with him. I think the matter has gone to sleep because when it first happened or when the news was breaking to Ghanaians concerning Ken Ofori being on the wanted list, even his own party members, some of them were excited to hear things like this because they thought Ken Ofori has really betrayed them in terms of finances. Okay, it got to a time that if you can remember, MPP MPs did a campaign or a demonstration against him that Ken must go, that we don't need the man is not helping the party. But then the president gave a dead ear to them. He didn't listen to them, so he was successfully with whatever that he wanted to do with kind of Loretta before he asked him to set aside. But that time everything has gone on waste already. So when we first heard the news, most of his own people party, his own party people were very excited about it. But then some were also worried because they thought he was once a minister and then he's going to tarnish the image of Ghana in terms of the outsiders who foreigners who would like to invest in Ghana. But then now that he came out through Honorable Afenyo Markins to write to the special prosecutor that you'll be coming back by May, the matter is not that hot again as it used to be, Nana.
But why is Afino Marking a parliamentarian or a private lawyer representing Ofuriata? Which is which?
So Afenyo Markins. Nana, this question. Afenyo.
Don't worry, I'll put this
Afenyo
question to
is
my
a
panelists here,
parliamentarian and then-
especially Mr. Teddy. So don't worry, let's go on. So I
he's a
see.
parliamentarian.
Yeah, go on.
He's a parliamentarian and then the leader of MPP. So he does most business concerning MPP in the name of their party. So when the letter came, he read it. He presented it and then he read it that the former minister will be returning in May. So they should just take it easy or cool down whilst they wait for him to return.
Well, I think it's quite interesting, and I'm wondering why Parliament or the minority leader will be taking so much interest in that. Because I'm of the view, I'm not saying there is any breaches or anything, but I'm of the view that Ofuriata's personal lawyer could have, deal with that. You get what I'm trying to say?
But
Instead
Nana,
of-
you should
yeah.
also remember that some of the charges against him was about the National Cathedral and then ECG as well. And
Yeah.
Afenyo Markins was the board chair of ECG.
Oh, so it's good. I'm interested. Now you mentioned ECG. Let me come in with this story. I don't know whether you are privy to it. There was a headline news which I tried to look into, and it says that ECG ordered a 500,000 US dollars of equipment, and that came to Tema Harbor. I think I've lost Adams, if we can put Adams back on. 500,000 US dollars of equipment for the ECG. And what happened was that for some reason, unbeknown to Ghanaians, the ECG couldn't clear the goods. And then the goods was sold to a private person who then cleared the goods for 100,000 and then sold it back to the ECG for 300,000. So yeah, so give us a breakdown of that story.
Okay, so Nana, we also saw that story online. We saw it and then we were like, wow. So if this is the case, means Ghana we don't have a future. Okay. Because if you look at how you are giving the analysis of the whole show, you bought something like this with this an amount and then sold it to a less amount to someone else for the person to also sell it back, means are we serious as a country? So these are some of the reasons why Kenoforiaka was declared wanted by special prosecutor to come out and then tell us to tell us the details or to brief us exactly what we are hearing or what we are seeing, whether it is true or it is not true. So Nana, for now, as I speak to you now, till kind of that comes, we don't know whether the news we heard or the news that we saw is relevant or not.
Okay, and I've also heard that there are other charges that the Office of the Special Prosecution created by Nana Akufo-Addo under his regime. We'll be looking at other issues like the National Cathedral, which is $58 million US dollars, and it's just a hole over there. And then there are other issues in terms of other, things that have gone on with the finance minister. So there's a lot of questions and investigations to be done on this particular man. And so keep watching and let's pray that come May, Uforiaka turns up. I'm also suggesting that if, as a top-notch reporter with Parliament, why every elections there should be, a process where ministers and public servants, I'm talking about those elected or those appointed by the president and those who hold high offices or leads an institution or chief directors, all those people needs to stay in the country for at least 6 months for it to help with any investigations if need be before probably they can start to travel outside. Because it seems that a lot of not just NPP but NDC as well, so that at least the maximum of accountability, probity, balance checks, and all those things can be taken serious, including the rule of law. And then we can also make sure nobody is above the law. And if that can start from the top people and it will trickle down the rest, I think it might work. What do you think, Obapade?
So, Nana.
Yeah, go on.
Yes. Nana, thank you very much. But with the issue of the National Cathedral, we all saw how Honorable Okujato Ablakwa, who is now the foreign minister, and then who is the chairman of the ORA, worked vividly during the 2024. During 2024, okay, he always gave out reports that Ghanaians do not have any idea of. Reports on the money they are taking from foreigners. Reports of money they are taking from agencies who are willing to help. Report their of money they are taking from even Ghanaian churches who were willing to help in the construction of the National Cathedral, which they hope that if this building was able to be put up, it can even bring us a side attraction of tourism, okay? But then we should ask ourselves where all this got into. Through Okujato opened our eyes for us to see the amount of money that Ghanaians have received in the name of the National Cathedral, but they are not putting up anything or they are not bringing out any development to the National Cathedral. So yes, we are all waiting and then hoping on the oral team as they have started investigating some people. As I speak to you now, the deputy director of National Service is in the custody as I speak to you now. We hope that they will be able to bring out all those who are involved in the national cathedral but did not come out with good results to the table, okay, for Ghanaians to know what the youth demand specific for. So Nana, I can tell you that
Yeah.
Parliament. Hello.
Yes, we are hearing you nice. Yeah, nicely. Carry on. Can you hear? Yeah, Obapade, go on. Oh, we lost there. That's interesting stuff. We got some few honorables. Okay, let's quickly look at the Afenyo marking one and then the Akwetia Honorable Ivan Kumi one. Your take on it. Let's be brief because we got about one, two. I've got some few headings you guys need to touch on quickly before we can break and then have another segment later on. Let's look at the Akwetia Member of Parliament, been done for contempt, and actually the High Court has done him for contempt, and then they also issue a bench warrant for his
Adams, you want to be the host now?
I think Nana is off. Nana is gone off.
So you can take over.
Okay, so the Akwetia Member of Parliament, Honorable Ivan Skumi, injunction on him, he breached an injunction, and the court thought that contempt against him, and even to the extent that the bench warrant has been.
Yeah, with the member of Akwetia, the member of parliament, Saga, I think it's high time we all cut out to the laws of the country. Everybody before the law, we are equal. It doesn't matter whether you are the president, you are the chief executive officer, you are the high court judge, you are whatever you are. You should oblige, you should obey, you should comply to the laws of the land. So in the first place, he should have adhered to what the courts or the courts of the land asked him not to do or to do. He should have appeared before the court and then defend himself there. He should have not gone to the parliament to be sworn in because that is a total violation or affront to the law of the land, which of course he is a lawmaker. Therefore, the court's issue of bench warrant to arrest him and also contempt of court is in the right direction. This will serve as an example to everybody in the country to know that before the law, we are all equal and we have to abide by the laws of the land.
Well, Adams, let me draw your attention to the previous parliament. You recall the other guy from Canada. The same thing happened, but he got away with it. There was an injunction, but he also went into parliament. I think nothing was done. If you recall vividly, I just want you to address your mind to it. But I agree with you.
I understand that he went to court and the
But
court
that was
put an injunction on him.
exactly. So he shouldn't have come to parliament. He shouldn't have. He was ushered in.
Yeah, and he went to court again, and he won the case in court.
No, I know he won the case. But what I'm saying is, there was also an injunction.
He shouldn't have gone to the court. Yes, he shouldn't have gone to the parliament. He should have stayed behind and finished with the court proceedings. So we want to see things being done right. So he went to the parliament house whilst he files his papers in the court again. So he was sworn in as an MP, and then he was still in court going. So it should have been something that, you see, we need to be doing things that is right. It doesn't matter whether you are NDC or
exactly.
What
So
matters is
I'm just trying to give
you are very right.
Exactly.
Yes, you are very right. And my own cousin Adamu, who was in prison,
I see.
Also did the same thing. And unfortunately for him, he thought the MPP was in power, and he was a buddy to President Kufuor. But because he was fighting a law guru, Ayariga did his homework very well, and then ensured that Ayariga is also a cousin. So he ensured that, yes, Adamu was sent to prison, and unfortunately for Adamu, he couldn't survive it. He came back to London and he passed away. So this is an issue.
Adams, you are referring to our very good friend Adamu.
Yeah.
Is it Adamu Dramani?
Adamu Dramani. I'm referring to Adamu Dramani.
You remember we were in the same studio talking together?
Every time, every day, we are with Adamu Dramani. So
may his soul rest in peace.
These are some of the things that we shouldn't be joking with. As a country, the country is being governed by law, so we should always adhere to the law.
I think, Adamu, I agree with you on that. That the only way respect and the institutions can work well is if we really adhere to the rule of law and we have this zero tolerance of approach to the rule of law. I think things will work very well. No matter who you are, nobody's above the law. And that's how the Western world works. So why can't it work in Africa? You know, we are social animals. That is why we are advanced than the other animals. Therefore, we need the rule of law to make sure things work. It's not survival of the fittest. So I totally agree with you. Okay, so unfortunately for this one, they decided to actually implement the law, and it's affected him. We pray that everything goes smoothly.
No, there shouldn't be prayer. We shouldn't pray. We should pray to the law. We should pray to the law that the law take its smooth course.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In terms of the law,
the electoral malpractices and corruption is too much. So I'm not saying the otherwise, but Nana, what the court should do is, if it's proven that the MP had some form of a malpractices, the MP should be held accountable as alongside with the officers who executed that electoral malpractices. So it should cut across. It should cut across so we can have a case.
Let's go to the number 2 item that Obapa Julie reported to us. Let's look at the appointments that the president is making. He's decided to do a very small appointment, the presidency. So far 19 ministers, and he's had his first cabinet meeting. And then on the 27th of February 2025, he's having a State of the Nation address, the SONA. And there's a lot. We'll also be catching up and making sure we are serving our audiences worldwide, including those in the diaspora and the Pan-African world. Yeah, so what do you make out of it, Teddy? 19 appointments as to the previous government?
Well, it's early days. It's just like having a football match of 90 minutes, and you have the team for the first 15 minutes playing very well. So and the other so it's early days. I think we're all judging in 2028. That will be the judgment day as to whether Ghanaians are satisfied with him. But to me, it's early days. That's what I'll say. It's early days.
But what's your view of a sitting president who is saying that he's bringing a reset, a 24-hour economy, is going to do things different? He said this 6 March, Ghana's independence, is not going to be celebrated, expensively. Is cutting down on most of the expenditure to save money for Ghana. And those steps to be taken, your view, apart from looking at it from a particular angle, do you think these are propositions that a leader making, is it good for the country, or you think we should still look at your football scenario and analogy?
It's a good start, but it's a question of sustaining it. It's a good start, but it's a question of sustaining it, not creating headlines and all. So it's a question of consistency. That's
So
all. That's all.
2 months into government, you are saying it's early days yet.
It's early days, but what I'm saying is it must sustain it. It's good,
Okay.
but it must sustain it.
All right. Okay. Sir Adams, your take on that?
Nana, 19 ministers is a laudable decision made by the president, and we should applaud it. Ghana's population is too small for 100 or so ministers. Needless government expenditure. The executive expenditure was too much. We need to cut down the expenditure and ensure that we do proficiency and effective budgeting and expenses to help our country grow. And also, what is this there for? To celebrate an independent country where we haven't got anything to show off. So we don't need any Independent Day celebration. We need Independent Day of mourning. We should mourn that the hard work of our forefathers to liberate us from the colonial jaws that was killing us has been negated, because we haven't done anything to prove that we are an independent country. So I applaud John Dramani for saying that there is not going to be any exorbitant celebration of the Independence Day. I would have urged him to say that that day will be a day of communal service. All ministers must have shovels and pickaxes and wheelbarrows, roaming around Accra, digging trenches and cleaning the gutters. All parastatal head of departments must be in the market circles sweeping. All school-going children must take the basket and hose and try and clean the environment. And then we ensure and instill some discipline within us that, look, let's have confidence that one day we will have a very beautiful country that we can put our hands on our chest and say, yes, I'm a Ghanaian.
Yes, I mean, nice one. Let's look at the price of the banking board, the price of items that really rose so high, and now the example that our reporter cited was that KK from 5 cities now dropped down to 3 cities, and the free SHS students also enjoying some good meals with some sardines. Your take on that, Teddy?
Well, like I said, he started well. So let's see how consistent he can be. He started well, yes. It's all in the right direction. But I pray it doesn't derail.
Early days yet.
Sorry? It's still my opinion. It's still early days. But though the right direction, yes, early days. But the right direction.
You are sticking with the early days, and Ademu, your take on that?
My take on that is we've seen that the jaws and the long arms of the law seem to be working now. So the head teachers who were using the school feeding program to feed their families are now using it judiciously, whereby the right amount of money and ration are being used. And also we've seen across board that within our Fourth Republic, all the newly elected parties that goes into government enjoy some goodwill, which of course is too early. Nothing has changed. So we don't want to see this as the Kokompe magazine goodwill that they give to anybody, but we want to see a realistic analysis of any government. Nothing has changed, so we need to see proper.
Let me quickly round up and let's talk about the oral and then finally the Kenoferata statement that will be coming in May. So fuse those two, oral with Okudieto and Blackwa operation, return all looks, and then Kenoferata's Brohaha now says through Afenyo coming to parliament to say the man says will be coming down in May. Let me go with Adamu.
I think Parliament is becoming a marketplace and it is becoming a place of gossip. The Parliament is losing the integrity. This matter shouldn't have gone to Parliament because Parliament did not order for the arrest of the former finance minister as well as the foreign minister. So Afenyo Markins going to the Parliament to state that the former foreign minister and finance minister will be coming back in May is neither here nor there, but a political expediency. And also, we have to do things right. You see, Ghana, we've suffered a lot, and we don't want our children to go through these processes again. We should have a proper way of doing things. And if the right things are done, I think Ghana will see some dividend of what we are doing. We want to have proper investigation. We don't want political.
The arrival of Ken Oforiatta, you think Afenyo Markin should allow the security apparatus to do their work? Let me go to Teddy.
Well, I asked myself a hypothetical question. The way the special prosecutor gave this case the oxygen of publicity, I asked a hypothetical question. Now, people have raised their hopes so high. Now, what happens hypothetically? Again, if in the process of the interrogation, he's exonerated. That's the question. How would Ghanaians react? That's my question I ask.
Yeah, that is a big question as well. That is a big question, a very good question, because the point is guilty.
Because the point is, from the way things are unfolding, I think he shouldn't have held the press conference calling Ken Oforiatta a fugitive. Because the point is, all indications states that, because if you're looking in the true sense of the word of the meaning of fugitive, a person who intentionally escapes from justice, does that fit the Oforiatta's appearance in America? Did he abscond based on he heard the news, or did he hear the news whilst out of the country? But the point is, now we are having everybody's having a stake in it. It is an investigative process. He hasn't been found guilty by any court, but he's already been, in the eyes of the public, he's been charged. Public opinion has charged him as guilty, and I think it's something that we have to be careful of.
Yeah,
if
you are right. We need to be civilized with everything that we do in our country. Yeah. So I think the right channels are not being. We don't go through the right channels. I know in this country, the public prosecutor will do whatever they do, and then they pass on to the police. The police will effect arrest. If there is any information to be passed, it's the police service that will do that process. They will say, look, this man has run away from United Kingdom and we want the Interpol to get him here. We declared him wanted. So Afenyo, sorry, I say Afenyo Markins. The public, the SP quickly did what he was not meant to do. He should have kept it low profile and ensure he explored.
Why are you saying he shouldn't have done what he did? I think, let me interject a bit. According to the OSP, they've been interjecting and communicating with the man, Ken Oforiatta, and he wasn't compromising, and apparently is, leaving the country and all that, prompted them to. So we need to be circumspect.
Nana, did he explore all the legal avenues? We are now a knitted world where you can authorize the United States of America. You can declare him wanted at shores of Ghana, and he will be arrested and deported to Ghana. We have treaties. So you should explore all those things. When they fail, you can try and get somebody absentia. So all the necessary processes should happen.
Getting somebody absentia, there's nothing wrong with it. But what I'm saying is that there's nothing wrong with the press conference that he held. What is wrong with it?
I think it's premature. It's I think
Why was it premature?
yeah, because you should have explored all the avenues first. Then you make the
I
case
do.
is in public anyway. The case is in public, but you shouldn't organize this kind of concert party public. We are grown out of that.
No.
We should try and grow out of it.
I think, sir, you rightly said that Ghana suffered too much. And
Yes.
then having bodies like OSP, that was a bit toothless because their hands were tight. When Ghana, looking at what Ghana has gone through, the OSP now has found its voice because it's now its hands being tied at the back has been released. And
everybody has been released in the country. Canada, Japan said, "It's a crime, freedom."
So the point I'm making is that he has the power to do what he did because when that institution was being formed, those parameters and those boundaries that he's supposed to operate on was all according to him, and he didn't act any otherwise. So I think that some people will always like to abuse the law, and some people, especially in our developing type of countries, feel they are always above the law. And this thing's been going on for a long time. And I think it's about time we name and shame and expose such situations. So next time, if there is no need to travel out, you stay, face the consequence if it will go through the court, because the special prosecutor cannot deal with Uforiata, but he can put things together and present it for prosecution in court through either the AG or whatever. So let's try and encourage, because the thievery is just too much. It's just too much.
Uforiata, by the MPP themselves, Uforiata has done a lot of damage to the Ghanaian economy. Nobody is running away from that. But we want to see that as a civilized nation, we do everything right. We should go by the.
My question to you is that what's wrong as the OSP done? If he is investigating, he engaged with Uforiata, he had Uforiata to come for questioning, and then the man, do you think if he acted outside his parameters,
he hasn't gone out of his parameters, but what I'm saying is he overblown it. He shouldn't have done that.
Don't forget that what the OSP did, if he gets it wrong, Uforiata can always go to court for a redress and a massive compensation against the state. So therefore, the interplay here at the moment is to deal with issues and to put out there that you cannot just think because you have money, you just fly off and run.
So we all know, we all know that nobody can run away from the fact that we use 58 million to dig the biggest manhole in the whole world. Nobody will run away from that fact that Uforiata was on the forefront soliciting for money in the States.
I can tell you that even to mitigate and be able to get Interpol to bring people, sometimes it's not easy. I remember the Nigerian oil minister lady who left for the shores of.
No, it's in the interest of these people because the money will come here. So they don't want to repatriate the money back to you. So they will frustrate the issue.
Teddy has been quite a bit. Teddy, final word?
Yeah, and also another issue was the comment he made in regard to the security invading Uforiata's house, that it was just ridiculous to say that the Uforiata and his cohorts wanted to discredit the OSPs. That's why the state managers. So Uforiata staged his own security to come to his house, when in reality the national security were those who operated it.
Well, that's an interesting point, but I was told that the security apparatus really had a warrant to go there. The difference is that when this became public, they should have come out and tell us why they went there, where is the warrant, all that, at least following due process. So I think those skirmishes there.
So the OSP was not aware of what the security authorities did? He was not aware of that? It's strange to me, isn't it?
You mean which one? You mean the aura?
No, the raid. So the OSP was not aware. So that was independent from what he was doing as well.
What I'm saying is that I'm not talking on behalf of the. I'm just saying that the security apparatus.
No, I'm saying what I'm saying is that when he was asked a question, he said he wasn't aware. So what I'm saying is, it's strange that the two issues were in tandem. One, the press conference, and secondly, the raid.
But maybe the OSP, this is my own personal opinion. I'm not saying that is a fact. But I'm just saying that they have the powers apparently to investigate and go after culprits and all that. And so they will not, OSP will not go directly to arrest anybody. Obviously, they will pass it on to the security apparatus. So the security service then might decide, look, we're going to go in heavy-handed or we are not going to go in heavy-handed and all those things. So I think that's there. We need to try and find the proper,
So is it fair to say he was being economical of the truth when asked? Is it fair to say that the OSP, the special prosecutor was being economical of the truth in saying he wasn't aware of it?
You know the OSP will not go and arrest. Of course, he has
No,
to.
I'm not saying that. When he was asked, he proved innocent. So what I'm saying is that was he not being economical of the truth?
Maybe you know what formats the security services will use. So there's nothing wrong with what he said. That's my take, and you might have your take.
Well, I think he was being economical of the truth because the point is, it was a wild coincidence that when he announced.
You see, Teddy, you know, our institutions have broken down for quite a long time, and we haven't got the minimum standard. We haven't got standard in that country. That's why the reset is something that we are all looking forward to. We need to reset the growth of the country, but we have to have standard in every sector of the state. The machinery of the state must have a standard. So if you work beneath the standard, you need to be gotten rid of. You have to work within a certain minimum standard. So it's lack of standard. That's why we haven't got any proper communication channel, any proper working jurisdictions between the interwoven state apparatus. So let's give ourselves a chance.
I think we guys have done very well for this particular section. It's been a pleasure. Fabulous show. And we'll carry on continuing and hammering, bringing great headlines, looking at those headlines, berating, titrating them, and analyzing them to the maximum for our dear audiences worldwide, from the Pan-African world and of course the diaspora world. But it's all about multiculturalism, inclusiveness, and unity. And of course, education, information, and enlightenment. Voice of London Television, voltv.co.uk. And you can also watch us on our sister station, Voice of London Radio, or volradio.co.uk, and all our affiliated social media handles. My name is Anos Adifo, and I'd like to thank the great man himself, Teddy Amofa, and then Adams Abudu himself. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and we look forward in, of course, another section of this educative and enlightenment program. All right, guys, thank you so much. And this is where we say
thank you very much.
Hey, let's not forget, we've got thank what's his name? Julie as well. Julie did very well, Adam. So she deserves every applause.